Hi everyone, I'm Doug Alsdorf. In this short video, let's compare IRAs and 401ks. And after watching the short video, please watch the videos and read the PDFs for chapters 4 and 14. Chapter 4 covers taxes, and chapter 14 compares IRAs, 401ks, and taxable accounts. Here in this short table right here, what I'd like to do is just compare tax-deferred accounts, which are our IRAs and 401ks. Tax deferred means just what it says. The taxes are deferred until withdrawals. And so capital gains are not taxed in either IRAs or 401ks, so that's the same. Income monies into IRA are not taxed, and the contribution is tax deductible. Two and three kind of say the same thing. What this means is, generally speaking, you are funding your IRA or your 401k from your salary. And so the monies come out of your salary and they're not yet taxed. We'll see that on the next spreadsheets. Your maximum contribution allowed to your IRA is $7,000 in 2025, and this generally increments by about 2% plus minus per year. However, the great thing about a 401k is you can contribute a lot more money, $23,500 in 2025, and that maximum amount also increases per year. So that's a real huge advantage to a 401k. Now, here's the negatives for tax deferred accounts in both cases of IRAs and 401ks. You're going to finally be taxed when you withdraw the money, and it's taxed at the short-term rate. Please have a look at chapters 4 and 14 to learn a lot more about that. If you decide to withdraw the money before you are age 59 and a half, you're going to also have to pay a 10% penalty. So that becomes very hefty. However, what is good about an IRA compared to a 401k is an IRA, you can literally choose thousands of equities, bonds, and funds in order to buy and sell those. And what some people do, I do not recommend this, but some people will day trade inside of their IRA. I don't recommend day trading at all. But when they day trade inside of their IRA, they're not paying those capital gains, assuming they actually made money by day trading. However, they can't access any of that money without paying a penalty. So they have to make a boatload of money in order to pay off that penalty. In other words, it's just not worth it. Over here, though, in a 401k, you only have about a dozen funds to choose from. And again, you want to read the book to understand what are funds as opposed to individual stocks and bonds. This is actually a good thing. Number seven is actually a good thing in terms of investing. The big difference, however, and finally getting to the point between IRAs and 401ks, the big difference is point number 8. Your company contributes thousands of dollars to your 401k, but does not contribute to your IRA. We'll see the benefits of that in just a moment. So this is my tax spreadsheet that's available in chapter 4. And for our purposes, what we'll do is we'll have a look at an income of $55,000 right here. And down here is the most important slide or cell to have a look at. That's your after-tax money at $44,000 after paying federal income taxes and the FICA tax, which are the two largest taxes. FICA is Social Security and Medicare. You'll have smaller amounts of state and city income tax perhaps, but certainly Fed and FICA are going to be the largest taxes. So this person has, with a $55,000 a year income, will have $44,000 to live on afterwards. Let's say they decide to invest 4,000 of that 44,000, so they're going to invest $4,000 and live on 40,000. If instead, and I'm just going to advance one thing, and all I've done here, if instead they invested $5,000 into their IRA or 401k, that becomes a tax deduction. And instead of being taxed on 55,000, they're taxed on 50,000. And now look what their after-tax money is. Their after-tax money is 40,000, same as the previous person, but this is a big difference. They are investing $5,000 per year, not 4,000. An extra $1,000 is going to make a big difference over time. So that's a big advantage that we need to take into our minds when thinking about tax deferred accounts, whether it's an IRA or 401k. Now let's look at the difference between an IRA and a 401k. Both are tax deferred, and in both of these investing formulas, Formula 4 from the investing formula spreadsheet, these are both the same. The only difference is the amount that's being contributed. Down here in the 401k, we're going to say that the company is going to put in an extra $1,000 per year compared to the IRA. And that extra $1,000, 5,000 versus 6,000, that extra $1,000 comes from the company. It does not come from you, does not come from your salary. We're going to say in both cases that the investment will grow at 10.5% per year. Now, that's over 35 years. We have to be real careful when we start looking at investments over much shorter time spans. And in Chapter 11, I talk about this 10.5% number and that the S&P 500, when reinvesting dividends over the past many, many, many decades, averaging over many decades, has grown at 10.5%. So we'll use that as our growth rate. We're going to assume that the person's salary increments at 3% a year, and hence the $5,000 or the $6,000 number also increments at 3% per year. Here's the big catch, the big important point, I should say. This person up here with just an IRA and $5,000 per year ends up in this model simulation at $2 million after 35 years. But if they use their 401k and get an extra $1,000 incrementing at 3% from their company, they get 2.4 million, $400,000 from the company. So therefore, we conclude here with this model simulation that a 401k is better than an IRA because your company provides a few thousands of dollars per year, and when invested, could grow to hundreds of thousands of dollars over decades.